After nearly 2 years of waiting, Volume 9 is finally upon us. Only a mere 3 weeks away now. Today it was announced that Volume 9 will begin airing on February 18th. But contrary to previous volumes, this volume will air exclusively on Crunchyroll. So you gotta make sure you get your Crunchyroll subscriptions in so you guys can be ready for when it airs. And Volume 9 will have a total of 10 episodes airing weekly until it finishes, with the final episode being on April 22nd. So we've got the information for Volume 9 finally, and so we can all be prepared for when it arrives in 3 weeks. But to tide us over until then, today we were also given a new trailer for the volume. It's only 1.5 minutes long, so it doesn't reveal too much about the volume, but oh boy, does it reveal enough about what we can expect, the overall themes of the volume itself, and introducing us to this brand new world of the Ever After. A world jam-packed with talking animals. We got a cat that speaks in riddles, a thieving raccoon, and a horde of hostile mice. So, well, this volume is certainly going to be unlike anything we have seen in RWBY thus far, and I'm really looking forward to it. So for now, in this video, we're going to be going over the trailer and seeing what we can learn about the volume to come. First and foremost, the trailer pretty much exclusively focuses on Team RWBY themselves. Jean is still nowhere to be seen, and Neo is only shown in, well, the same image that we saw previously. She's angry, looking directly at the camera, and she uses her semblance to transform into RWBY. We knew that she used her semblance previously, but now that she transformed into RWBY, well, she's still acting very much the same. The Mad Hatter in this fairy tale of Alice in Wonderland seems to definitely fit the description for Neo. And the fact that Neo and Jean haven't really been shown that much at all leads me to believe that they're the ones who encounter each other, and they have their own little story that they go on. I made a theory video about that, and I'm really hoping that is the case, because we see Team RWBY in a number of different scenes throughout this trailer, and, you know, it's just Team RWBY. Jean and Neo aren't with them, which means they probably meet up with them later in the volume. So I'm curious to see how that is all going to play out. But with Team RWBY, we do see a number of different things. First and foremost, we see a lot of different locations that they will be traveling to within the Ever After. Presumably, they will be traveling to those locations, but it's also possible that those locations may come to them, based on what we saw in this trailer. The words that were spoken by different characters in the trailer lead us to believe that there are two overarching themes of the volume itself. First and foremost, of course, escaping the Ever After, trying to find a way back to Remnant, and Team RWBY is thinking that the tree is their exit, and they need to make it to the tree. However, the cat that speaks in riddles, obviously the Cheshire Cat, is telling them that they do not go to the tree goes to them. Unless, of course, you are me, you see. So the Cheshire Cat has ties to this tree, has ties to the power of Ever After, and obviously is going to be a significant character throughout this volume. And in my mind, potentially is going to give Zwei a run for his money as the best mascot character. If we can see the Cheshire Cat come back to Remnant and be a continuous character in the series, I would love that. So also, you gotta let me know down in the comments below, which is your favorite animal character now? Of course, Zwei's gonna probably be sitting on the top of most people's podiums, but we got the Cheshire Cat, we got Rocket Raccoon, who ends up stealing Yang's arm, so you know how in Endgame Rocket threatened to, or wanted to buy Bucky's arm, and he said, "Oh, I'll get that arm." Well, we know Rocket, in this universe at least, does in fact get the arm. It's just not Bucky's arm, it's Yang's arm. But still, we have the thieving raccoon that seems to be a peddler and selling wares and merchandise. But in general, the goal is just to get to the tree because they think that that is their way out of the Ever After. The second overarching theme of the volume is going to be one of self-reflection. I made videos already with this theme in mind back when we got the teaser trailer, where the focus was on the question, what are you? And my hypothesis was that they were asking RWBY what she is. Is she a huntress? Is she a silver-eyed warrior? Is she just a simple girl? Or is she just Ruby Rose? And in this trailer, it continues that theme, where she's directly being told, possibly by an image conjured by her own mind. I'm thinking a lot of the mist that we're seeing in kind of RWBY's inner world, I would imagine, might be related to the caterpillar that smokes hookah in the Alice in Wonderland stories. There's gonna, be a lot of characters and crossovers between that, but it looks like she's talking to a reflection, and I think it'd be the reflection of herself that is telling her she was never the hero, which of course leads to that crucial question. What are you? A hero is what RWBY always dreamed to be, so if she's not that, considering the failures that they had in Atlas, the amount of stress that they are under, the burden that they carry, and the failures that they've accrued, a hero isn't an accurate term to describe them. So what is she now? And an unknown voice in the trailer then offers another question. What if you could leave Ruby Rose behind, like an old coat? And what would happen if you didn't? In other words, RWBY needs to change. And what's going to happen if she doesn't change? It could be something, metaphorical, like instead of tossing aside an old coat and, just getting a new one, in other words, tossing aside her old identity and getting a new one, she needs to kind of evolve the identity that she has. Abandon that childlike mentality that she had of becoming the hero in the stories and actually progress forward. And whether she chooses to actually become a huntress or doubt herself and possibly abandon the entire fight against Salem entirely. There's going to be doubts like that in this volume. Now, of course, for the series to continue, RWBY's probably going to make the ultimate conclusion to continue to fight against Salem, fight for her friends, get back to Remnant, because she knows everyone there's probably going to die, so of course, she's really going to make the right choice in the end. But even if we know the ultimate destination, the journey there is what is important, especially in this case. The self-discovery that RWBY is going to have to go through, the doubts she's going to have about being a huntress, being a hero, and ultimately even being a team leader. I'd be curious to see if by the end of the volume, RWBY isn't even the leader of Team RWBY anymore. Though I think Weiss, Blake, and Yang have enough faith in RWBY that I think it's probably going to be similar, but we also can't forget that there are doubts towards RWBY's leadership. In the past volume, Yang had her doubts about RWBY, that they've relied on RWBY making all the choices, and it hasn't exactly worked out all that well thus far. And I'm sure there's going to be a few trials in the Ever After that's going to test their team unity, and in particular, the faith that Weiss, Blake, and Yang have in RWBY's leadership, which is easily personified by the scene we get of RWBY playing chess, where Yang, Blake, and Weiss are three of the characters on the chessboard. RWBY is literally going to have to give orders to these chess pieces, so obviously we're going to have to see how well Weiss, Blake, and Yang follow RWBY's orders. If she has a plan, we're going to see if there's going to be other rules in place where she can't actually communicate with them. She can only give the orders, and they have to believe in her overall judgment, because she's above, able to see the entire chessboard. She has the bigger picture, and if there's strategies being laid out, Weiss is probably the more experienced chess player, so she'd probably question RWBY's judgment more than others. Considering in her father's office there was a chessboard there, probably Jacques also taught Weiss how to play chess, something that the, upper echelon of Atlas all must know how to do. Or something like that, whereas RWBY may not have ever played chess in her life. We know she likes strategy games, we saw that in Volume 2, so maybe chess is something that she picked up at one point, but it might have also been a little bit too boring, a little bit not up her alley, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But we do kind of know the conclusion of this chess match, as we see the person that RWBY is facing, who I'm presuming to be the Red Queen, well, her face cracks, and we also see the chessboard, the entire table literally gets flipped, and Blake, Weiss, and Yang get tossed off of it. I'm guessing they were made small by some power, by some magic, to fit on this chessboard, and so that they could play under RWBY's leadership, and thus, test their team unity. I'm guessing that was the overall point of it. Maybe it's similar to Alice in Wonderland, where those three drank a potion of some sort and were shrunk down, but it definitely seems like those three were made smaller rather than RWBY made large, because we can also see Little, who's standing right at the edge of the chessboard, and Little's about the same size as Blake, Weiss, and Yang, so it definitely seems like those three were shrunk down rather than vice versa. And it also seems like they stay shrunk down because, well, Weiss, Blake, and Yang are then traveling around in Ruby's cloak as she's exploring other areas of Ever After. This area that we do see is one of the spoiler images that we got over the weekend, and I had thought about making a video on those spoiler images in general, but, I wanted to see if we'd get more spoiler images. Turns out we did get a couple more on Monday, and then we just got an entire trailer the day after, so, may as well just make a video on the trailer, though I do have some ideas in mind about the room that Ruby is entering in this image. But I'll save that for another video. Now, in general, those are all the major things that we were given from this little trailer, but there's a number of other little glimpses of other individuals in the Ever After and other things that will be relevant that we do see. It's just we don't know anything about them at this point in time. We see Weiss and Blake tied up by vines, and the words of the trailer also say that they were attacked by those vines, so presumably Weiss and Blake meet up with each other first. We also see Yang being attacked by some almost Nutcracker-esque soldier, toy soldier almost, and this is presumably where she loses her arm to the raccoon, so the raccoon's gonna have some conflict there because they're gonna need to get the arm back, and, well, considering he seems to be a trash peddler of sorts, or a junk collector, when you take something that he's collected, he's probably not gonna be too happy about that, and there's gonna be conflict that arises. And then the rest of Team RWBY will likely meet up after that. Considering Weiss and Blake seem to be held hostage by all of Little's people, all the rest of the mice, I think Blake and Weiss meet up first, RWBY encounters them afterwards. Considering Little is bringing RWBY to their village, and Yang will probably meet up with them at some point after that. We also get a little bit of a scene, or an expansion to the scene, in the forest where all of Team RWBY is talking with one another and catching up. Weiss is crying, RWBY has a look of shock on her face, and then she falls unconscious. And to me, this is Weiss recounting everything that happened after RWBY, Blake, and Yang fell into the void. This is Weiss recounting how Penny died, how Cinder got both of the relics and Salem won overall, but most importantly, the tragic way in which Penny lost her life. And that comes as an absolute shock to RWBY that she completely failed to save her friend, and leads to the entire arc of she was never the hero. She couldn't save her friend. Not only, not saving Atlas itself, not preventing Salem from getting the relics, all of these things are going to be intertwined in with one another. And as for the last few things that we see in the trailer, we get to see, well, what the creature looks like underneath the leaves. My guess is this is probably the Jabberwocky, either that or the God of Darkness looking creature, because we see that as well, and Yang's actually fighting it, so it's probably an enemy, but the creature that was underneath the leaves that was asking RWBY, "What are you?" I'm guessing that's the Jabberwock, or the Jabberwock could be something else. But after we see the God of Darkness looking creature, we also see a vision of Salem. Whether this is a vision conjured by RWBY's own mind, or perhaps there is an actual connection between this creature and Salem herself. We also get a little bit of an expansion to the scene where Yang is looking a bit solemn with the cloudy background. We see that she's standing on a rickety-looking bridge and staring down, standing above the clouds. And there's a pillar right in front of her, so she's on some structure that's suspended high in the air. From what we've seen, Ever After appears to be an island that's surrounded by water, so where this pillar is, not really sure. Could be something conjured by our mind, conjured by the magic of Ever After. Things seem to change in this world and definitely work a lot differently than Remnant, considering the tree is going to have to go to them. We also briefly see a couple other animals. There's a bird that's flying towards the camera looking real angry, and we also see what presumably is another dog? More competition for Zwei, I guess. And we also do get to see the warrior lady. Still can't see her face, presumably this might be Alex, but we don't really know yet. But we do get a close-up view of a weapon that seems to kind of thematically match the armor that this woman is wearing. And it looks to be like an axe combined with a gun of some sort, which sounds very much like the weapons designed on Remnant. So it might be a good hint that this character is, in fact, Alex, or at least someone else from Remnant who has remained in the Ever After for a while. The only other things I haven't mentioned yet are 2 extra bits of scenery. One with a very fantasy-looking forest, and another where there seems to be a shrine, almost, that's in the center of a lake surrounded by lily pads that people can stand on. But we don't really have any further context on that, and I don't really know how they would relate to Alice in Wonderland, so if you have any ideas, let me know. In fact, let me know down in the comments below if you have any other insights into the trailer itself, what you're thinking of Volume 9 thus far. How excited are you that RWBY has finally returned, and returned in such an interesting way at that, with the Ever After and all of the colorful and interesting things we will see. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Want to see more like it? Join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. Tweet me at Phoenix Knight 7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.